shout out to all my Healy boys. We got to keep them alive. And if they die, you're to blame. So you've done it. You've hit level 50. You went through the main storyline. You went through those side quests. And now you're wondering what to do now. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly what you need to be focusing on after level 50. If you're still farming your way to level 50 and need a little bit of help finishing level 50, I do have a new player guide that you can check out to bump your way through there. But if you've already done that and are looking on what to do and how to focus on the later game, mid game, and end game, then this is the video for you. Let's get started. First and foremost, after hitting level 50, to keep things simple, the next things that you're going to be focusing on is gear. Gear essentially becomes the powerhouse of your power scaling, your overall damage, your overall defense, and it becomes a sole focus of what you will prioritize, especially if you're going to be focusing on PvP content. But gearing up is just more than your power level. It's more than just your basic stats. It's also part of these important stats that you will see on your basic stat chart. If you want to know how to get to that, you can simply check out your stat details and go from here. I myself am maining a healer, and my healer is going to be building an endurance build. If you're looking to learn more about that, I do cover these topics in other videos, and I'll be sure to link all of these guides in the description down below, and I will make mention of them as we continue to progress through this. But the long story short is, once you've hit level 50, the priority is gear. Gear is the fuel for your power. Now, if you've hit level 50 and you're still trying to focus on what to do, what to play, how to play, and where to go, there are fantastic guides available. I myself really like using maxroll.gg. I have been following this wand longbow guide. Shout out to Eli for making this awesome guide to follow. It's been incredibly helpful for my progress, and you will be able to find many builds and guides based on what you're trying to do, whether it be PvE, whether it be PvP, whether you want to play a DPS, a tank, or a healer. The wand longbow is a main healer type role, and that is the role that I am playing. So shout out to all my Healy boys. We got to keep them alive, and if they die, you're to blame. More importantly, let me put my mighty staff away. What's great about guides like this is there is a focus on what your end game build could look like, such as telling you what to focus on your early game build, your mid game build, as well as your end game. While gearing up, make sure you know what you want to play, you know what you want to do, because fixing some of your gear and making adjustments can start to become a little bit expensive, especially in the cost of time, because some content is time gated on a daily reset basis. Now, there's lots of things that you can do within the daily reset, which is one thing I'm quite a big fan of, but it's good to have an idea on what you want to play as you start progressing through the storyline. As you start gearing up, it's a really important piece of advice. Follow your early game build, especially follow your mid game build. If you jump from an early game build to an end game build, you will literally be shooting yourself in the foot, and I'm going to explain that as we continue to progress through the video. This is a common mistake almost every single new player has made playing this game, and I will explain why. But just know, when you get to the mid game, this is at level 50 now, you're going to want to be focusing on your blue gear and fully traiting your blue gear. I'm not saying don't get your purple gear. If you get your purple gear, hang on to it, set it aside, but continue to fully trait your blue gear. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to explain this as we go. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the basics. So there's 3 different things that can contribute to your overall power level. That is item level, your skills level, and going back to gear, the traits that your gear has. If you don't know what traits are these stats right here. These are individual stats that you were able to select and level up. So again, item power level, item trait level, and your skills level. You can level up all of this with materials that you can earn through in-game means. As you progress through the story, you will obtain a variety of items, such as growth stones for your weapons, growth stones for your armor, and growth books for both your passive and your active skills. One really handy thing to do in the early game For the growth stones specifically, if you were to dissolve a purple grade stone of weapon, armor, or accessory, you were able to do a 1-for-1 exchange to the lower tier. So 1 purple grade stone will give me 5 blue. I can dissolve this for a cost of gold, which is called Solent in this game. We go ahead and dissolve that. I get 5 stones. If I want to get those stones back, I can go ahead and make one of these purple stones for the 5 that we just dissolved. However, dissolving the books, typically making 1 purple, will cost you 15 blue. Dissolving the books to blue will yield you a return of 10. So you will be at a loss of doing this. In the early game, some players like to dissolve these purple books to upgrade their skills to level 1 in the purple grade much faster. It is a very big boost in power output, but be warned, you will be at a loss doing this. I did this myself. I don't regret it, but it is something that some people may do. However, if you dissolve your purple stones for blues, it is a fantastic way of obtaining a larger volume of blue stones because you will not be at a net loss for these stones when you need to upgrade your items. If you want to know more about how to obtain more growth stones and materials for your weapon, armor, and accessories upgrade, I highly recommend checking out this video. I'm not going to break down on where to get them. I'm just simply explaining on what you're going to be focusing on in this one. This video here breaks down all of that. On top of the things that you can do, you will be doing an activity that I would consider and compare to side quests. They're called contracts in this game. You will go to a contract manager and you will also be able to run contracts, aka these side quests, for materials used for crafting your upgrading materials. If you want to know how to min-max and go about doing this in a more efficient manner and have a better breakdown of that, I highly recommend checking out this video. Once again, everything will be linked down in the description below. I will be able to provide a full comprehensive breakdown of all of this for you. So definitely go check that out. So we have leveling up your skills. We have leveling up your armors. And now we have leveling up your traits. Your traits are going to be additional statistics for increased damage output and increased survivability. Basically attack power and defense power. We'll keep it really simple here. Traits are absolutely essential. They are the pillar of your strength and overall power level. This number over here means absolutely nothing. It means nothing if you do not have proper statistics to go with it. And those statistics come with your traits. I'm not going to go over traits in this video, but good news for you, I have a trait guide as well as a trait unlock stone video. I highly recommend checking out the guide first if you're not familiar with how to do this. And afterwards, I'd highly recommend checking out the trait stone video. This will give you a very good breakdown and understanding on how traits work, as well as how to unlock them and how to obtain the materials you need for unlocking them. So absolutely must watch if you do not understand this system, because it is essential to understand, especially if you're going to get into the PvP scene. Alongside the PvP scene, alongside your overall power level, alongside your statistics that you will continue to push as you progress, it is really healthy and good to join a guild. Guilds are communities that you can be part of, as well as alliances that you can be part of. There are PvE friendly guilds, there are PvP guilds. And if you want to be involved in PvP, it is a must to be part of one, especially if they're going to be actively involved. The game has a lot of open world PvP situations. It's not all open world PvP, it's all optional, but there is a lot of PvP encouraged to be involved in if you want to. And if you do, being part of a guild is a must. To join a guild, my suggestion for finding a guild is opening the escape menu, going to the community tab. You can press G and you'll be able to search for guilds, even create your own, or you can look at the ranking system, look at guild rankings, and take a look from here on the leaderboard. You'll notice that some guilds on their pages may have certain requirements for their power levels being PvP focused, what they're looking for, and even recommending their Discord servers to apply. The Discord application route is typically going to be common across probably all of the higher ranked guilds. It's part of ours, it's part of our alliances as well, and that's something that you will see more commonly throughout applying for one. You'll also notice that in the chat here, the chat is always littered with people advertising their guild in the world chat. Looking for a guild, Adopted Orphans is looking for, these are ridiculous names. Guild Latum Liberty, anyone looking for a guild, Boss Raids on Sunday looking for 3-ish people to help clear Morokai. So people are always actively posting guild advertisements on their server across all servers, and it's not hard to find one if you go searching for one. I highly recommend being part of one, especially if you want to do any of the dungeon content. The dungeon content, it is much easier to complete these dungeons if you have a reliable group to count on. You can do public lobbies to go do these dungeons, but there are mechanics to follow, and Publix is pretty good most of the time, but sometimes you just get those randoms that don't know what they're doing and maybe they won't listen. I find that being in a guild and being part of a community in Discord and being able to jump on comms with people makes this process so much easier. You'll have people that'll be able to explain this to you, hold your hand, carry you, and hey, you'll even make some new friends along the way. It is really, really, really awesome for content like this, as well as getting involved in PvP. Now, a quick tip, if you want to be involved in the PvP scene, let me show you a quick item that is a absolute must craft item. If you don't know about this one, then stay tuned here. If you go into a town and talk to a senior sundries crafter, you click on the miscellaneous here, the precious purification stone is going to be a absolute must have item if you want to be involved in PvP. It is completely obtainable through grinding materials in game and other normal means and activities to be able to obtain this, but you'll notice that on the effects, it is an item that sits on your buff bar. It removes certain CC effects applied by other players when used. So when you are stunned, when you're CC'd, when you're stopped right in your tracks, you're able to actually proc this stone and it can remove the CC effects and you can pick up where you left off. It will be consumed on your hotbar and it has a 1-minute cooldown, but using it places a cooldown on all of your other items that are on your hotbar, such as your health potions, your elixirs, and things of that nature. This is a must craft item if you want to be involved in the PvP scene. Now, the thing is when you do craft items like this, or when you're working on items such as your traits and other items, you can get involved in the auction house. And the auction house is a fantastic way to buy items that you need, farm for traits that you need, and sell items for Lucent. I'm a huge fan of this system because Lucent is, yes, it is purchasable through spending money, but it is also earnable through in-game means, and it is very easy to earn thousands of Lucent just by getting involved in the marketplace. I haven't made too much Lucent because a lot of the gear that I have been grinding for, I hang on to and use towards my upgrades. I've seen some players make in the tens of thousands of Lucent completely free to play because RNG is just RNG. If you're interested in knowing how to farm Lucent in the game, guess what? I made a guide for it. If you're interested in knowing how to farm Lucent in the game and learning more about that, definitely check out this video here. Again, shocker, links will be in the description down below, so make sure to go check that out. You may find some of these videos, if you don't know about these sections, to be incredibly handy and informative, because a lot of these categories are going to be essential to understand if you want to push towards the end game, and especially if you want to be involved in the PvP scene. So let's assume you're part of a guild. Let's assume you're going and doing those contracts that I mentioned, and you're going about the world doing activities. There's really good daily stuff to pay attention to from the vendors, and guess what? They're all smushed together in town. You can go to a contract merchant for daily materials that you can buy. This vendor here requires a currency that you earn from those contracts that I've mentioned. The Sundries merchant has daily and weekly sellable items such as contracts. If you don't know that, go look in the description down below and watch this and watch that video. You can also buy cooking ingredients that they sell on a daily basis. These are used towards crafting very, very good meals that you can use for buffs for a variety of reasons. We'll go ahead and get mine for today. And the guild merchant. You can earn guild currency for performing guild activities. You can use that currency for buying potions, materials used for crafting your upgrades. And if you're sitting on a lot, you can even buy some weapons, and you can hope to roll these to get some traits that you might need for your upgrades. Let's see if I get anything lucky. So let's open these up. We'll open all of them. It's all going to be weapons for this chest. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to be rolling for the traits anyways. So we roll this. So we've got max health, hit chance, health regen, critical chance, heavy attack chance, max health, max health. Hey, those are all pretty good actually. And if you don't know much about this, definitely watch that trait guide. But I can use these traits towards potentially upgrading some of my best in slot pieces of gear. So let's go see if we get lucky. Build up some blessings here. See if we can get some clicks. Look at that. Got lucky with one of them. Gotta like that. This is now maxed out. That's a big upgrade for me, actually. And that's just a small example of things you will be working on with the activities that you can do towards the progress that you will make. And there's a variety. There's a plethora of things that you can do. Open world dungeon running through and doing PvP, being able to do cooperative dungeon running, being able to do individual dungeon running, and even dungeons on a time limit for additional rewards. There's leaderboards for the times on these. There's leaderboards for activity. There's leaderboards for kills. There's leaderboards for the guild. There's the growth ranking and all different types of things. If you want to have fun and be involved in some PvP, don't look at my kill loss ratio, because being a healer in random pugs sucks, but being part of a team is a lot of fun. And you can even do friendly matches where you can practice with friends, and it's super, super fun. On top of that, you can win arena currency and use that currency towards buying PvP accessories and other things through a PvP merchant with that currency. You have weekly mission boards that you can pay attention to, and it completes for all the activities that you do. But again, I cover all of this in a lot of the guides that I link down in the description down below, because again, all you're going to be focusing on is the growth of your character, the growth of your gear, the growth of your traits, the growth of your skills, from being able to do cooking in game. And some of these meals offer you a variety of different effects, from bonus damage, your buff duration, to EXP and increased defense power, or increased chance of treasures and things of that nature, to fishing along the lakeside and trying to catch a variety of fish, and even potentially getting lucky with catching some precious materials. Everything that you do in Throne and Liberty serves a purpose, has a purpose, and pushes towards your overall character growth. Some of the final things that I'll make mention of is some things you'll be doing is going through the codex for additional materials for your upgrades. They are simple little side quests that you can just pick up and do. The battle pass, which I've completely completed mine, and you can purchase this off of the in-game shop for that in-game currency, Lucent. So you can buy the battle pass in this game completely free, and it's a pretty fair and reasonable price. You can also buy the leveling pass, which gives you additional materials for doing things for leveling up. We go to the leveling log, we look at different things that we haven't done, incompleted missions, 14 of them, and you'll notice the ones that I haven't completed also carry additional materials or upgrades. I go all the way to the end here, and there's even some that you can get for later game upgrades as well. And then the lithograph book will be something that you can work towards completing to earn more materials for more upgrades. I wouldn't stress too much about the lithograph book until you're really starting to work on your traits and have a good understanding of what your build is and what you're going to be working on. So I highly recommend checking out the builds available out there before you start filling items into this, and you know exactly what traits you want to start saving. And once again, all of the information that I'm quickly glossing over right now, I explain in more detail in videos that I've linked down in the description down below. But I don't want to overload this video with more information that's already put in there. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. If you guys want to come hang out on the stream sometime, feel free to come join. that will also be down in the description below. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. If it was helpful, then be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content from my channel, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you have fun on your adventures and have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you next time. Peace.